We hear about
Okay.
in the NBA, they say that in the playoffs it becomes more of a half-court game. In the NCAA tournament, is there some of that too, and that when you get these elite teams, they can slow you down better?
Yeah, it was a very good question, and I guess survey and analysis probably say that does happen a lot. When we're at our best, we're in transition, and Kentucky's at their best in transition. So, game one was a complete track meet. You had 80 plus possessions. Like Cincinnati, we were in the 60s. So I think what we've been able to do this year is show that regardless of what the style is, we can play whatever style that is because of our ability to shoot the basketball. We've obviously done that very well, but I think this is a game where it's going to be very similar, well, at least pace-wise, to the first game because they love to play fast. They are athletic. They are quick. They are really, really good in transition, and I think we're at our best in transition. So I fully expect this to be a high possession game.
You see a difference on film from 6 months ago?
Well, they're getting better. Obviously, they've gotten a lot better, and I hope we've gotten a lot better. So I thought those were two pretty good teams in December that hadn't played a lot of games yet. Both teams had played probably 8, 9, 10 games and trying to fill themselves out. And I think we've got much more of an identity now, and they do too. They've won 13 straight, so they've won a league. They've won a league championship. They've gone through their gauntlet, and now here we are meeting together again. In what looks like, that's a Final Four type bracket. So this is a very difficult bracket that both of us are in, and now we're paired against one another. So it's two really good basketball teams, and a team that plays poorly is not going to win this game. So it's, but I think the styles are very similar as far as pace and tempo, and the athletes that are going to be. We've got good guards, they've got good guards, we've got good bigs, they've got good bigs. Guys that come off the bench for both teams add an awful lot, so you've got a lot of similarities that way.
Do you like that you've played them before? Is that a favorable thing?
Oh, I don't know if that's favorable. It's because I think guys like playing teams this time of year where you haven't played each other. But when you're in the Sweet 16, you got a chance to get in the Sweet 16. I don't think players would tell you it doesn't matter who they play, and as coaches, it doesn't matter. We're fortunate and excited to be one of the final 16 teams trying to advance, trying to win that next bracket. And that's what we talked to our guys about last week. We had a bracket of 4 teams. We got to win that bracket. Now we'll meet today. We got a new bracket of 4 teams, and if we're going to keep the season going, we got to win this bracket.
You played at FedEx Forum in a Sweet 16 game previously against an SEC team. What do you remember about that game? It was a close game, and then they had like a 10-0 run.
Yeah, we played good basketball there. So we were able to advance there. But, I've already looked at it. That Cal coached there. So it's like I'm playing Kentucky for the second straight time at home. We played him at home in Lexington, and now we're playing him at home in his home building. So he's got a lot more experience coaching in that building than I have coaching or playing in that building. So, it's closer obviously to Lexington, and they travel well. So it's a hard game, tough game, regardless of what venue it's in. When you're playing Kentucky, it's a very difficult game.
Their game against Wichita State came down to the very last seconds, obviously with a couple of clutch blocks at the end. Did that game show you any weaknesses that you might look to exploit?
No, because not weaknesses, because they've had a lot of close games. That's why they're good. They win close games, and again, they've won 13 straight. We just played a Cincinnati team that have won like 23 out of 25, and it might have been the only game in round 2 where you had to beat a 30-plus team to advance to the Sweet 16. So we're coming off knowing we just beat a very good team, and now we're getting a Kentucky team that they're one of the best teams in the country. So there aren't a lot of weaknesses. So it's about making sure we're just who we are and we play as good a basketball as we can.
You mentioned Kentucky's evolved since December. Did they do the same things they did back then, just at a higher level, or have they, changed in their style?
No, I think style's been the same. I just think they're more efficient. They're more efficient offensively, and they're much better defensively. So they've just evolved that way as the season's gone along. Both of us have been through the grind of an 18 to 20 game conference season. And that's where you really learn a lot about yourself because you're so scouted. You get to play teams twice. They get to play you. So there's all kinds of scout tapes out. And you've just seen them evolve as an offensive, defensive team, and they're much better than what they were in December.
Is a lot of the reason both of you guys have progressed since then the fact that you have freshmen playing big roles on both teams?
Yeah, I mean, I think you got to improve, whether you're a freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, you got to improve. So I think all of our guys have improved, and John probably thinks that all of his guys are improved. So I don't know if it's so much of a class thing as it is the players that you have, are they better now than what they were in December?
EK had some big moments in the first
Huge.
game. He had that huge putback dunk and a block or two. Is that kind of him in a nutshell, making the most of his kind of limited minutes?
Yeah, I just think we're so much different. You know, of what we got to rim protect, we got a shot blocker back there when we have EK, big time athlete that gets out in transition. He's really good in pick and roll, so he gives us a completely different look. Obviously, with all the things Tom's able to do so efficiently, so having him back in there was huge, and he made a lot of effort. Our medical staff, our trainer Shane, and he worked awfully hard because it was really, we said game time, game day, whatever it was. It was definitely a game time decision. He didn't even get to the bench until I think right at tip or a little after that. So we're fortunate that he was able to do some things, and he really gave us 6 or 7 minutes there that were crucial for us, and hopefully he'll be much more healthy this weekend.
You talked about your guards being interchangeable in their positions when they're on the floor. Is Kentucky similar in that sense, that both of their top guys can play point guard?
Yeah, you know, you're going to see Lonzo at our point most of the time, and you're going to see Fox most of the time for Kentucky. But other than that, you know, we obviously with Isaac and Bryce and Aaron, we got a lot of guys that can rotate through there, and if Bryce has to bring it up, he can. If Aaron has to bring it up, he can. I think Kentucky's more about Fox engineering what they do. And obviously, as this season's evolved, we've really liked what Zoe has been able to do engineering our team. And Aaron is somebody that we've gotten off the ball a little bit more just because he's shooting the ball. He shot the ball so well again this year, and he's a prolific three-point threat who can also drive it. So, you know, they're playing about 4 guards. They may play 5. We're playing 4 guards, and you know, we said it back in December. It's an elite matchup of guards, but I think now as the season's developed, it's also an elite level of front court players, both them and us.
How much trust does that require from you, and that your guys can play different roles on different plays even?
Well, we've built that trust over the year, you know, and that's part of the evolution. That's part of hopefully getting better. Players sense that trust in coaches, and coaches sense that trust players, and then you got the trust among teammates. And so I think, you know, we've developed that over the course of the year where our guys really trust one another. They play off each other very well, and we've gotten better defensively. That's where I think our trust has really grown in February and March. Not so much of the offense, but the defense. We built some more trust there that we didn't have in the December game.
When you look at EK,
You're killing me.
sorry, she's dying.
I'm starting to sweat. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
You know, he doesn't play a ton of minutes, but when he's in there, it just feels like he makes such an impact, and certainly some matchups more so than others. Is this a matchup where he's going to be important?
Very, and if you look at game 1, he was. Right. You know, he rim protected. If he didn't block a shot, he changed shots, and they're so athletic and they're so fast, and they get to the rim so quickly. You got guards that really like to drive the ball. You got guards that really attack in transition, and Bam runs as good as any big man in the country. So having EK out there, he's just a presence around the rim, and that's why, you know, hopefully his health continues to get better. We anticipate it will this week, but he's been that way for us all year. He'll get 2 or 3 dunks a game. He'll get 2 or 3 blocks a game, and I don't think he got a rebound the other night in that game, and yet he was such a difference maker. I just thought his body and his physicality was a difference maker for us, and those minutes are always crucial that he's in there.
Is he kind of one of the most unsung guys? You guys have so many people who get a lot of hype, but you know, he does a lot without getting the
Well,
hype.
and we've talked about that all year, how TJ and Zoe, and justly so, those 2 freshmen get a lot of the hype, but EK's a pivotal piece of what we do, and he has been all year, and his confidence is growing, and you're seeing him get better. I thought he was he had a lot of raw to him offensively at the beginning of the year. He's really starting to come around in that regard. So, you know, we've never thought him of as that way, other than being very, very special and important to us. But hype-wise, you're right.